Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch the Third, coming to you live from the palatial studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Irvine, California. Joining me from a more than acceptable safe social distance is my guest for this evening, Joseph Leonard. How you doing, Joseph?
Doing pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty
It's
good?
like I always say, and I know I told you the last time. It's in Terror Strikes coming soon to a city near you. I have my character say what I've been saying for decades. Remember, it could always be better, but it could often be worse.
That is the truth. But yeah, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Right, exactly.
Yes, and of course, not only do we have Terror Strikes coming to a city near you, we now have a new book of yours to look out for, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping it would be out today, but we're having issues with the cover.
Uh-oh.
So next week should be ready. How to write a book and get it published.
You know,
So I can,
that's the important part most people skip over is the how to get it published part.
yeah, yeah. Because I know there's a lot of us, writers out there who would love to publish a book, but don't really know what to do, don't know how to go about it. So this book, How to Write a Book and Get It Published, which shares kind of my journey of conception to written word to published and even marketing after the fact of Terror Strikes coming soon to a city near you. So I kind of share the story of bringing that book to market to help others bring a story of theirs to market.
I was just thinking, so basically you've written a book telling people how to write a story by telling them about how you wrote a book about a story.
Yeah. Yeah, more or less.
That's awesome. Well, what got you started on your path toward writing any book?
Creative genes from my father's side of the family. He created the Polka Kings band, and you could go to terrorstrikes.info under the More tab and see a tribute to my dad and the Polka Kings there. And the three albums they put out, you could still get to this day. So I dabbled in music in the 70s and 80s, but things then aren't like they are now, where everything is you can digitize immediately while you record a laptop and can instantly put it online to sell at 9 cents a pop. Back
Oh
then,
yeah.
the only way to do it was get a record deal.
Yeah, yeah. That's still the dream of most musicians, though. I found is getting that big record deal. But I know of at least one who has decided to put that on the back burner while he makes some money doing a tribute. He does a tribute band. He's the lead singer of a band called the Kings of Queen, and
Ah,
he plays the role of Freddie Mercury. He does it quite well, and yeah, people. They're really in demand because of how much effort they put into really giving a Queen type experience. But yeah, he's got all sorts of original music that few people ever listen to. It seems he's had a couple very minor hits, but local to like the Middle East and some places in the U.S. But definitely not putting him down for it. He puts out some wonderful music, and it's just hard to get noticed for originals anymore.
it is. The market for music and even books is pretty
Hmm.
saturated, but
Yeah,
there is always a niche for just about anything, which
that's
is
true.
why in How to Write a Book and Get It Published, the marketing chapter is there because, like I say in there, so you've gotten your book published. You think you're done, you're not done.
Yep.
You're just moving to a new phase because nothing, almost nothing sells itself.
Right. Even pancakes.
Right. Even IHOP has to advertise. Yeah.
Yep, that is the truth. Yeah, I'm just one step along the on the way to marketing one's book anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, I've taken some hints from your book, and I've started the search on writing a book about these shows.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Like
yeah,
I say in How to Write a Book and Get It Published, uh, someone like you who has shows or someone who writes blogs, you can
hmm,
take and repurpose those. In your case, you can run your show audio through an online transcriber,
yep,
and bam, you need to clean it up, but you've
right,
got most of a chapter from a show there you need to add that may not have been part of that show or an update on what's happened since that show. But yeah, that, 10, 12, 15
oh yeah, for sure.
made book.
Yeah, I've been looking at transcription services, and there's some nice ones out there. I'm looking at oh, which one is it? I found Fireflies.ai. They include quite a bit on their free on the free version of their service, and their lowest level of paid version is $120 a year for unlimited transcription credits. So that's looking like a pretty good deal. I've requested a demo of their service and how it works, but haven't heard back from them yet because I just did that in the wee hours of the morning today.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
services out there to choose from. I don't go into
No,
that
the
in the book.
technology changes so
Uh,
fast you really
I
can't.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them to
Mhm.
choose from, and I always say use their free option
Oh
first and
yeah,
see how it
absolutely.
looks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I tried one and it couldn't tell the difference between different speakers. It just labeled everybody as speaker one. And
Yeah,
a
yeah. That's
lot
what
of errors.
happened. That's what happened with mine too, but that was all right. The main thing was that I got the text, and then it was
Hmm.
pretty easy to clean it up
Yeah,
after that. Because you'll get atrocious punctuation and sometimes a wrong word. It's like any text to
right.
speech program. It's come a long way, but it
Yeah.
still has a way to go.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, God help us when the day comes when a computer can easily understand normal speech.
Yeah, yeah. But I think a lot of the transcriptions, uh, if it's if you have like male and
Hmm.
female, it can more easily distinguish and
Mm,
differentiate based, from the speech patterns and the tone, the pitch. But if you got two or three guys together or two or three gals together, it gets it gets more difficult for it to understand who's saying
yeah.
what. Yep.
Sorry, I forgot to turn the phones back off. It's reminding me that I have a show with you in 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Let's see. So, what are some of the other steps? What are some of the other pitfalls that authors can find out about in your book?
Well, it's like everything, and I say you need to do your own research. I mention a few of the self and as I call it,
Hmm.
assisted publishing firms, but you can bet they all have a nice, slick website, right?
Yeah.
But they aren't all created equal. You got to make sure you check Better Business
Hmm.
Bureau reviews because the minute my book comes out, one of these firms could sell and change hands overnight, and you're dealing with a whole different crew than the people I'm giving as anecdotal evidence for
Right.
in my book. You know what I mean? So uh, you always have to keep up and check Better Business
Yeah.
Bureau profiles to see. Uh, because they may have done great work a year ago, that doesn't mean they
Sure.
still
Sure.
do now.
Yeah, review sites can certainly be helpful in that case, but I would think stability would definitely be a thing to look for in your publishing house. But
Yeah, because I mean, there's unless if you're doing it
mhm,
all yourself, and you can go the free route, but the free route isn't
right.
really free. You still need someone else
Yep.
to edit your book. That's going to cost you money. You still need someone to design you a cover, unless if you know a great graphics art designer that's really
Hmm.
good with CAD or whatever, you know. So if you're going to invest some money, in my opinion, it's best to just go ahead and invest it into one of the better assisted publishing firms so you get that support and their
Okay.
expertise from them.
What would be the one thing that you would say if you had to choose only one thing to invest your money in the process of writing, publishing, and marketing a book? What would be that one thing?
Oh, that's kind of hard to say, yeah, but I guess the most uh, for sales wise, from a marketing aspect point of view, people do judge your book
Yeah.
by its cover. So your cover is one of the utmost of important things to invest money into because if you can't catch somebody's eye with your cover, they're not going to look at any other words on your pages to see whether they're interested in buying the book or not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm working because I do one of my businesses is marketing, and we're working with an author, and that's one of the things that we have to work with him on is his cover needs some work. It totally looks like it's a different kind of book. It's a memoir, but the cover
Yeah.
looks like a horror. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. See, and I discussed that in my cover
Yeah.
design chapter. Yeah, your cover has to
Right.
match the book. Otherwise, you're somewhat engaging in false advertisement and you're going to get a flood of negative reviews because you misled
Yeah.
them down the path to thinking that this book is this, but
Right.
it's really that. And you get a lot of
Yeah.
pissed off
I mean, your
people.
life may have been horrible, but that doesn't make it a horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna help him. We're gonna help him get on the straight and narrow, and all. But yeah. Okay. Um, let's see. There's some other good things we can talk about. Now, your first book, Terror Strikes, Coming to a City Near You, um, was kind of about terrorism, kinda, and all. How did you come up upon writing about writing that book?
Well, that came to me in a dream in
Okay.
2006. Most of my writings come to me in
Hmm.
vivid dreams, you know, and sometimes you wake up and a dream is fleeting and it just leaves your brain, where some of them are so
Hmm.
vivid and so I don't know what word to pick here, but they grab you and they hang on and they linger days, weeks, months, years thereafter. And those I usually then tend to put into a book in some shape or form. And like I said, 2006 it came to me. The book didn't completely come together. So I set it aside thinking, 6 months from now, I'll pick it up, or a year. And lo and behold, 15 years later, in, in 2021, the dream came back, which then shook
Mm,
me to say, okay, I get it. Now's the time for this book. And it is, because of coming out of the Wuhan virus hysteria
mhm.
24/7 on TV. Some
Yeah,
people are under the silly notion that terrorism went away just because they're not seeing it on their nightly news every night.
right. That's the
And
24-hour news cycle for you.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, terrorism is the main thread. It's historical fiction. I call it faction,
Hmm.
part fact, part fiction, uh, because a lot of people claim they would never forget, but they have forgotten.
Yeah.
And this serves kind of as a warning and a wake up call in many respects. And like I like to say, it's terrorism, however, it's not a book about death, but
Right.
of one of life and living,
Okay.
as kind of the main underlying moral of the story. And live your life. Don't be afraid, because that's the point of a terrorist, to make
Right.
you and keep you afraid, to bend you to their will.
Yeah.
Well, don't be afraid, but don't be stupid either,
Right.
right?
Right.
You have to have a certain degree of situational awareness about you in this modern time, even
Oh
not
yeah.
just with terrorism, with rampant crime on the rise all over the place.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We've had some definite new bad crime statistics coming out here in the greater LA region, and it's just awful. Thankfully, it hasn't hit home for me yet. But then again, I was trained for situational awareness, and have eyes in the back of my head. So
Yeah, I know, but yet so many people are shocked. You keep
mhm,
letting criminals right back out on the street and
yeah,
wonder why there's more crime. Gee, what a shocker. If you only
yeah.
had two working brain cells to figure out that don't work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they keep getting rid of all the programs that might have led to some form of rehabilitation, and some people who would have been good citizens, if you will, um, have no other choice but to go back to crime because they're treated like criminals constantly.
Yes,
And it's
yeah,
like if you can't get a job, at least a decent job, then what else are you going to do? You can't live anywhere, you can't get a job anywhere, so you have to steal somebody's identity and go underground.
yeah,
And it's I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who's an ex-con was going to go straight. You hear about these unfortunate killings of kids and all, and it seems like every kid who's ever met a bad end was on their way to becoming a doctor or something like
yeah,
that. It's like, oh, he was a saint, but that's we know that's not true. But some of them
yeah,
were. Some of them were. Some
yeah,
people who spent time. I know people who've spent time as guests of the state, uh, who really didn't want to be there and didn't think they were going to go there, and certainly don't want to go back.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Which is why
And
I support the second chance kind of programs, and
yeah.
also the different various groups uh, uh, that like innocent projects
Hmm.
that all have similar names.
Oh yeah.
Because there are definitely people behind bars that were indeed innocent. I have
Yeah.
no doubt of that.
Yeah.
Also, Michigan years back passed an expungement law. So for certain crimes,
Hmm.
certain minor crimes, if you're on the straight and narrow for a certain amount of time, then you
Hmm.
can get your record expunged. Like you said, so you can get a job,
Yeah.
because a lot of employers won't take a chance, which is why you've got to have those second chance operations out there to help get people back on their
Mhm.
feet and able and working in a low key kind of low scale setting, to show others they are indeed on the straight and employable.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, we definitely need programs like that and laws like that. California's working on an expungement law right now. Of course, they'll probably take it too far and
Of
do,
course,
you
yeah.
know.
Like the letting criminals, I agree there can be a certain degree of justice reform,
Mhm.
but there are people who then automatically, you give the inch, they take a mile. They
Yeah.
always go overboard, they go way too far, and we're seeing that every day. And sadly, people are dying because of it. We're
Yeah.
letting murderers and rapists literally right back out on the streets.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, it's a tough thing to know where that line is between the reformable and the bad seed, but for sure. But of course, there's still tons of terror going on around in the world. Did you
Yeah,
freeze? Oh
and
yeah.
and
Um,
I fear with the open border that it's only a matter of time, because the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security is made up of people, and people are fallible,
yep.
and uh, dots can be missed again, like
Yeah.
could have prevented 9/11 had we deported all those who overstayed their visa. uh,
Mhm.
9/11 could have been avoided had they all been deported. They wouldn't have been here. And yet, every day, countless thousands are pouring across our southern border, and
Yeah.
some of those people are terrorists.
Or would be terrorists anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Planning to become.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, a lot of them, and I've met quite a few of them, really are just looking to make a better life for themselves and their families. And so there needs to be a process in place to allow those who would work and better our country in, while keeping those who would not out.
Yep. By coming through the front door
Yeah.
and being vetted,
Yep.
and yeah, a
But yeah,
meritocracy.
it's
That
another thing that there could definitely be room for improvement and reform in. It's
Yep, because there's nobody I know that's against all immigration. No
right.
one. I have nobody. I mean, please point me out to one somewhere
Yeah.
that says, "Oh yeah, we need to terminate all." I've heard a few people float the concept of having an honest discussion of whether or not, because so many illegals have poured in here,
Mhm.
millions upon millions we have that
Yeah.
need to work through the system and assimilate or whatever, that perhaps, like during the Eisenhower years, we did shut down all immigration
Yeah.
for a couple years to say, hey, we need to get a handle on this. But
Mm.
most people really don't want to even go that far. We just want to make sure that you're just not coming here to get on the welfare rolls.
Yeah. Yeah. Or cause trouble of
Yeah,
some kind.
commit crimes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And yeah. Um, yeah, it's crazy what's going on down there. Um, definitely problems on both sides of the argument.
yeah,
But
and they're float. People are again trying to float the amnesty uh, thing.
yeah, yeah,
Amnesty, I'm sorry, will just lead to more illegals, because then they will have an expectation there will be yet another amnesty later. The
Mm.
worst thing Ronald Reagan ever did as president was make a deal with Speaker Foley and Teddy Kennedy
Mhm.
for amnesty. We Millions were granted amnesty, but zero border security improvements that were promised
Yeah.
were ever funded.
Yeah. Well, it's so difficult to, I mean, the border's so huge and and taxes are high enough and so it's really difficult to protect the entire border, you know. I mean, since especially since most people who come to the country who don't come illegally but become illegals while they're here by overstaying their visas.
Yeah.
More people enter this country through the airplanes than they do running across the border,
Well,
and
I would
you
have
know,
would have said that were true years ago.
yeah,
That's not true today.
but
But yeah, I get your point.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, still, there's got to be better ways to make the system work, and and let in people with merit
Yeah.
and
Yeah. But if your first action is to break our immigration law,
mm,
how can we trust you to not break other laws?
well, it's the old question of Les Miserables.
Yep. Yeah.
Somebody goes to prison for stealing a loaf of bread to eat. Yeah, they broke the law, but for what reason?
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
that's a different situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But most of these people aren't starving.
Aren't Jean Valjean?
Yeah. Yeah, I love Les Mis play. I've
Yeah,
seen that countless times, and in fact, they're advertising it again on our local TV. Fisher
nice.
Theater Les Mis is showing like December 20th through the December 29th or something like that
Okay.
at the Fisher Theater here in Detroit again. But I avoid going to sporting events and plays and that stuff now
Mm.
because the security is such a problem, and I just now that I'm getting older, I just don't want to fight those crowds. I'd rather just sit at home and watch something on TV. Now, wait a second. I got to open the door and say, "Get off my lawn!" Right? I'm turning into one of those.
Oh no. Well, thankfully I don't have a lawn, so right now I can't turn into one of those. But yeah, another thing I think we need to put more effort into is not just keeping out the bad and letting in the good, but changing the world for the better so that people don't want to come here as much.
Yeah, yeah,
If people had better economic situations in their home countries, better education and better opportunities, then there'd be no reason to cross the border legally or illegally.
yeah, yeah. Well, all our most of our foreign aid goes into the pockets of the dictators and the
Yeah,
that run the countries.
that's
If
for
the
sure.
money actually got to people who needed it to help them, like I always give Bono a lot of credit. He seems to have red pilled somewhat. He used to be, a heavy believer in just, the old give a man a fish
Mhm.
principle. Just give them fish, they just remain dependent on you. You need to
Right.
teach them how to fish
Yeah.
for themselves.
Oh
And
yeah.
Bono, during the G.W. Bush years, finally saw the light. He was involved with G.W. Bush in the Thousand Points of Light uh,
Mm.
organization about teaching skills so
Yeah.
someone can start a business in
Hmm.
Africa, and become less and not be dependent and
Yeah.
perhaps If their business grows, hire more people. You've got to build up the community at the community level, not at the head of state level.
Right. No, absolutely, absolutely. And another great example of that kind of thing is actual, well, a terrible example, um, but a great example nonetheless is Afghanistan. Um, after the Russians were expunged, if we had stayed there a little while longer and
Yep,
helped them build schools and roads
yep,
and an infrastructure and all that thing, the Taliban never would have come into power. And
absolutely.
and well, a certain day never would have made that big a difference to anybody.
Yeah, but sadly, that people try to dismiss that as nation building. Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what works.
yeah.
It's what worked after World War One.
Hmm.
It's what worked after World War Two. If you just leave your enemy in destitution and squalor,
Hmm.
they're going to hate you, and
Yeah.
they're going to want to hit you again. I
Well,
mean,
look what
it.
happened between World War I and World War II with Germany.
Yeah,
We punished them for World War I and decimated their economy, and there was nowhere else to go.
yep, exactly right. But some people fail to learn those lessons.
Right.
And yeah, you gave a very good, fairly recent example with
Yeah.
Afghanistan. That's exactly the.
Yeah.
But again, it's the need to build up the communities,
Hmm.
not the heads of state
Right.
that then just pocket the money,
Right.
and only a few cronies get their hands on any of it. And we were doing a good job of building up Afghanistan,
Hmm.
uh, until the botched withdrawal and the Taliban came in and
Yeah.
basically destroyed all the things we built for the people. And
Yeah.
girls no longer going to school, uh, you know, all covered up again. They have no rights again, but yet certain people cry about women's rights in this country, but we abandon the
Hmm.
women of Afghanistan,
Yeah.
who, many of whom were on our side and helping us. They wanted freedom. And, granted, we cannot rebuild every nation on earth.
Right.
Uh, we got to pick and choose because we can't help ourselves if we go bankrupt, and it's the same thing
Yeah.
with all the aid we send to South America. So you've got to pick and choose some battles and try to make it so that the private sector comes
Hmm.
in and helps and
Yep.
builds the things. A private company come in and build a factory so that it can hire locals. So then those
Hmm.
locals have money to then start their own businesses with, and it builds from there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Capitalism, when guided by those who are enlightened about the phrase I keep going back to it: a rising tide lifts all boats.
It really does. It really does.
And
Yeah, you.
if they're guided by that basic principle of capitalism, then yeah, then capitalism works.
Yeah, and you don't make poor people rich by stealing the money from the rich.
No,
That doesn't help. That just makes everybody poor. You
right?
got to do as much as you can to create as much wealth that more people can have access to.
Yeah,
There will always be some rich among us. This idiotic notion of socialism. The ruling elite are always
hmm,
well to do and do well
yeah,
for themselves.
oh
It's
yeah,
everybody else suffers and is equally poor.
hmm,
So I'd rather the capitalist free market system where you at least have a chance of getting ahead
right,
versus you're absolutely going to remain in squalor the rest of your life under communism.
yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, actually, one of my other day jobs, my passion project, is teaching ethical leadership. and I'm actually going to start a mastermind this next year on ethical leadership, and hopefully get some new leaders out there trained how to do things the right way,
Yeah,
and
that'll be it.
bringing together teams of communities, and with because definitely I am a capitalist.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
that's
keep
going to be.
failing at it, but I still try. Ain't rich yet.
And that's going to be an uphill climb because there's no such thing as ethics and morals from our school systems. So
Yeah,
we've got generations of people who it's all about me and what can I get right this second,
right.
and who
Yep.
do I have to trample to get it.
The
Yep.
uh, the
There's no
egoist
moral and
philosophy.
ethics anymore. Yep.
Yep. Got to get them up to the enlightened egoist, because you can't teach them how to be anything else. Yep, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
getting more stuff to the people who need it the most is probably about the best way to reduce terrorism, and get the world on a peaceful slant. At least where we don't have to take off our shoes at the airport anymore.
Yeah, and what that's that charade is still going on, as
Oh yeah,
pathetic as it is, and it is
security theater.
nothing but a charade.
Yep.
And yeah, security theater, absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, and if you're religious out there listening or not, uh, I'm not trying to push Christianity on anybody here, but I'm saying, like Jesus said, or if you don't believe me, Jesus, pick Gandhi or whomever. They know there will always be poor among us because
Mhm.
some people will never ever will always refuse to help themselves.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. A better world's a better world, whether we got there by helping other people or not.
Yeah,
And
but to
it's
be
certainly a
one,
lot easier doing it by helping others.
yeah, but from my perspective as a Christian, to be my brother's keeper is
Yep.
an important aspect. But you got to distinguish between those you can give a helping hand
Hmm.
to and those who just want to keep you giving them handouts.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Amen and hallelujah to that, brother. Yeah, you got to remember well, four podcasts I do during the course of an average week now are all Christian themed. So two in English and two in Spanish. But yeah, so that's where a lot of my teaching comes from, is the Bible. Grew up with it, and certainly proud to share it with others,
Yeah.
because it
Well,
is the best way.
yeah, and there's a lot of people who, I mean, I'm drawing a blank right now on a phrase that is common. There are several phrases that are common out of the Bible that people that aren't religious at all will quote, having no clue they're actually kind of quoting the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you
Yep.
don't have to have a specific official faith to believe in morals and goodness. Look at
Right.
Penn and Teller.
Hmm.
He's a well known atheist, but
Yes.
he has a sense of ethics and morals
Hmm.
and understands thou shalt not kill is
Right.
sensible doctrine,
Yeah.
regardless of Moses' law.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I do like Penn. Um, he's come out with quite a few good things. Yeah, the only thing I think I could hold against him is his atheism. But at least he's not militant like some of them are. Not like
Right.
what's his name, Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, don't
Some
get
of
me
them.
wrong. I'm out proselytizing at the opportunities I take. Spreading the word when I can. But good Lord, he takes the evangelism of atheism to the next level.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just
I
yeah.
for someone who doesn't believe in a deity, you seem awfully hateful of this deity you say don't exist.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
it's like the old saying, "Doth protest too much," right?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But yeah, so people are what they are and we have to deal with it or not. But yeah, and so we've been, it's always the time always flies when you're on the show, Joe. Yeah, we've gone through 40 minutes. So the books are Terror Strikes Coming to a City Near You, and how to write a book and get it published.
Yep, yep,
Highly
that,
recommend that one, especially since I'm in it.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep, yep. If you're anywhere near Bill, buy well, it's coming out only in ebook
Right.
first. So yeah, I was going to say buy a copy and get you to sign it for them, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, I don't think they want you to Sharpie their Kindle.
Probably not. But
But doing it as an ebook only at first was the quicker, easier way to be able to get it in people's hands
mm,
this month, because December is National Novel Writing Month. So if you,
okay.
yeah, so
So
that's the month to promote a book like this, right?
yep, yep. So stay tuned. The link is going to be in the description, and so as soon as it's available, you can go out and or not go out and buy it. Stay home and buy it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and because it will be available, it'll be available on Amazon, right?
Yeah, Amazon will be the first place. It'll be up a few weeks later in Apple Books or Barnes and Noble Nook, or there's
Okay.
a site called Smashwords that
Smashwords.
you can get electronic books through Smashwords.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you could order it direct from there. Probably the first week of January it will be
Okay.
up at all those other places. But first, yeah, Kindle's the quickest and easiest place to get it going. So that's where it's going first.
Yep, yep, yep. Give Jeff Bezos
Yeah,
a few more of our pennies.
yeah, I'm not anxious and eager to do that, but unfortunately, that's where the book market mostly is these days. 80% of books are all sold through Amazon. So
Yeah, yeah. But it has allowed a lot of people to become published authors. That's for sure.
yes, yes,
So
it certainly has.
yeah, yeah. Just wish more of them would have gotten editors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a whole chapter in how to write a book and get it published on editing. Yeah, you need a good editor.
Yeah.
You really do.
Good editor, good proofreader, and a few people to read it and give reviews.
Yep,
So
yep.
give a little feedback.
I go into that. There's a reviews chapter and also cover where to go to help get some initial reviews in the marketing chapter. Because yeah, you because sadly there are trolls,
Yeah.
hateful trolls that you come across on social media, and you say something they don't like. They can't counter your discussion. So what do? They engage in ad hominem attacks. And if they know you got a book, they'll go and leave a negative review, even though they've not read your book.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to rack up some positive reviews as soon as possible, so those trolls can't destroy your rating, your five
Nah, I think
star
I'm gonna go.
rating.
I think I'm gonna go after the worst of the worst reviews and just put absolutely ridiculously terrible reviews on my book. It's like a terrible
Reverse
movie.
psychology, right? Yeah.
That's right. It's like a terrible movie, like Plan 9 or or Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Oh,
just the
you,
ridiculously terrible ones.
you're talking about terrible movies. I want to share two movies I
Okay,
saw since we're in Christmas season. I saw Violent Night, and it was
okay,
actually pretty good. And it's not as gory as like a Purge film is or anything like
right,
that. So, and it's actually kind of funny and cute in places. So I gave it
okay.
an A minus. But there's another one called The Mean One. I give it a
I've
D
seen the ads for it.
I give it a D plus, but I tell you, it could literally become the next Rocky Horror Picture Show cult classic film. Every Christmas
Nice.
Eve at midnight, it'll play in theaters for fans that love to hate on it because it's unintentionally funny. The acting is reasonable, but the script and the cinematography is horrendous. But I felt compelled to say to the end because I give them a lot of credit. Because what it is, the mean one, right? You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Mr.
It's a
Grinch.
play on the Dr. Seuss
Right.
Grinch movie. It's an alternate reality Grinch movie. And it's not a cartoon, it's live action.
Hmm.
So if you want a bad movie, I recommend that one.
Yeah, I do want to see that one. That one's right up my alley. I think sometimes I'd rather watch a terrible movie than a good movie. Because a good movie can't be good all the way through. There is no perfect movie out there. There's always going to be
Right.
something in the movie that disappoints. But a bad movie can be bad to the bone. And it is exactly what you think it is, and it cannot disappoint you because it's going to be terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I mean, a degree of cleverness there. Like, do you remember the movie They Live?
Yes.
Yeah, with the what, 18-minute fight scene in it? It's like, oh my God, how unrealistic is this? But I love that movie to death.
Yeah, yeah. My grandmother's favorite was the claw, the giant claw. It was about a giant bird. It was black and white movie, and yeah, the giant claw. And she'd reach her hand up, go, ah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get my
Oh.
love of terrible movies from her. So,
Yeah, it's almost a genre in itself,
oh
right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But uh, but yeah, oh yes, go out and watch a couple of terrible movies. Hey, it's the Christmas season. There's plenty of terrible movies out there.
Yeah. Well, Violent Night, like I said, I did enjoy it, and
Yeah,
I so the minute I got home from the theater, I went on all my social media, uh, platforms. I'm on 15 of them, and posted, "Move over, Die Hard. There's now a new number one action Christmas movie. It's Violent Night." Because yes, I'm sorry, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
oh,
I
if
I
Bruce
am a
Willis could hear you, he'd be so pissed.
oh, there's another one out that's really good though too. With
Hmm.
yeah, what's it? Oh, with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, the new
Spir-
Christmas Carol takeoff.
Spirited. It's called
Spirited. There we go.
Spirited. Yes, it's really weird, but it's a very weird, clever reimagining of of a Christmas story. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't have Apple TV, so I'll have to wait until it comes out in more wide release. But
Yeah. Well, that one I would say is even worth seeing at the theater. It's still at
oh, it's still at
limited
the theaters.
theaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I
So
mean, I'm sure there's got to be a theater somewhere near me that's showing it.
yeah, Apple decided to, well, for contractual purposes, it had to have at least a limited theater run.
Sure.
Uh, Otherwise, Farrell and Reynolds wouldn't have signed on to it.
Yeah, I can believe that. So, all right. Before we get to too many more awkward silences, Uh,
Yeah.
do
Well,
you have anything else to say to the fine people?
there normally isn't any silences with me. I usually a blabbermouth, but I just came back from a Christmas party, so I was out and about in the cold, and I haven't been sleeping well lately, so
Yeah,
I'm running on fumes these days. So there's more awkward pauses than normal would usually occur with me.
yeah,
And I guess just to remind everybody, Joseph M Leonard.us. Uh, Leonard does not have an O in it. It
right.
looks like Lenard, but it's not. Leonard with no O. And you need Joseph M. Leonard if you're Googling me, because there's another Joseph Leonard from North Carolina that's an author that I don't want you mistaking, obviously.
Nope, nope.
I don't
Had
want you to mistake me for him or him for me.
Nope, nope. My last guest wrote a romantic suspense or suspenseful romance novel or something. It was a memoir about him staying true to his first love for 8 years while he grew up and tried to get back to her. And there's somebody else out there with his same name who is also an author. Um,
Uh-huh.
and but yeah, wrote. I don't remember the name of the book he wrote, but it had the word nympho in it. So really not the same kind of book.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I have the middle initial in there, Joseph M. Leonard,
Yep, yep.
because he goes by Joseph Leonard, or I don't know, he could be French, it might be Leonard. I've tried reaching out to him, he doesn't get back to me, so
Oh, that's not nice. That's not fun. You should write a book.
no,
You should get back to you. The two of you could conspire on a book together.
I know, I know, I've talked about that. I've joked about a couple other podcasts too. Have two Joseph Leonards on the same show at the same time
That would be awesome.
and see how fun the confusion gets.
I had two Richards scheduled for one show once. They had different last names, but they were both Richards.
Uh-huh. That's trouble enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's especially funny considering that I don't normally put my guests together. They're randomly generated.
Right. Yep.
So go out and or stay in and get yourself a copy of Terrorist Strikes coming to a city near you. So you can have something to read while you wait for how to write a book and get it published. So,
Yep.
which you will
Well,
also stay in and get.
they are kind of I don't want to say codependent, but they complement each other because again, how to write a book and get it published is kind of the easiest way to give my advice was to share what I went through getting
Mm-hmm.
Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You to market.
Right.
So I recommend in how to write a book and get it published, you buy Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You to see how all the things I'm telling you and how to write was applied practically in Terror Strikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's
Absolutely.
almost kind of companion pieces.
Nice. A companion book. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Buy many copies. Give them to your friends. Make great Christmas presents.
Yep. Well, they certainly do. And if you want an autographed copy, if you're got a U.S. Address, you could go to terrorstrikes.info/buy and get an autographed copy direct from me. If you want it made to somebody else, make sure you also click the contact tab and reach out and say, "Hey, I just bought a copy. I want it made out to so and so, not me." You know what I mean? So I
Okay,
can
cool.
personally autograph a copy. If you order in the next couple days, it should get to you for Christmas.
Nice. Well, hopefully they will. Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think there's still a couple days left. But yeah, so terrorstrikes.info, right?
Yep.
and Joseph M Lenard with no O, well, one O because there's no O in Joseph, but with
Yeah,
no
yeah.
O dot US.
Yes, correct.
Okay, the links will be in the description as per the usual, and so you can find it quite easily and learn more about Joseph and his books and buy a few. So, well, it's been fun, and I look forward to having you on the show again.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Bill. I appreciate it.
Been a pleasure as always. And be safe out there. Remember to wash your hands and stay tuned for the closing credits. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I'd like to thank my producer, my beloved mother, Eileen Hack. I am, of course, your humble host. I'd like to thank my beloved Ed McMahon, Rudy Corlew, and my special guest, Joseph M. Lenard. If you feel so led, support the show over on patreon.com at Bald Spots Pro. And don't you dare miss YWL Online. Normally they come up on Tuesdays and Saturdays. You can find us on Facebook and wherever podcasts are broadcast. Tune in next time for George Bentley and Glinda Benavides. Please like, comment, and share to stay informed. You know, subscribe, follow, whatever it is you got to do to kick that algorithm into gear so we can reach more people. That is the point, of course. This, of course, has been Not Quite After Midnight, and thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful one ever.